probably got to be one of the top 10 jingle commercials of the world. It's great. It was a movie. So they had stopped promoting it for years and because they needed to work on the quality of the ribs. But the new team has improved the ribs, and uh, they've got a commercial, as you talked about, with Lizzo that talks about the Chili's ribs, and it's a great commercial, and they'll have to win an award for it because it's really good, and they'll sell a lot of ribs.
So now, please welcome the official, non-official, non-sponsor of the Savannah Bananas, but a big fan. Please welcome John Fletcher.
Well, thank you, my friend Jesse Cole, owner of the Savannah Bananas, and welcome to a special edition of 15 on Fridays with Fletch. You're going to love our guest, Larry Lavine, the founder of Chili's, because as the United States celebrates its 250th birthday, there's very little that's all-American as much as Chili's. Our guest is the entrepreneur of entrepreneurs. This past March marks the 51st anniversary of his baby, Chili's. He built the concept around an incredible culture and unique burgers, and he inspired the casual dining concept, also called neighborhood grills. He's been an adjunct professor at UT Arlington. He's even appeared on Bud Kennedy's Eats Meats podcast. He's been featured in D Magazine and a whole lot of others. You've seen his work as he's consulted such concepts as Alamo Drafthouse, Bar Taco, Macaroni Grill, and many more. And he's still creating his own concepts. So he's the founder of Chili's and a truly fun guy who I met through our mutual friend, LinkedIn guru Terry Sullivan. Please welcome Larry Lavine. Even though it says Elvis at the bottom, please know it's Larry Lavine. Larry, welcome.
Good. Nice to see you, John.
Tell us about Chili's as an authentic American brand in the neighborhood grill concept.
Well, at the time when Chili's started, there were cafes and fine dinner houses where you had to get dressed up. And Chili's was early on the curve of offering a restaurant that were fun and casual and food that was cooked to order, not fast food. And so our timing was right.
And you built this in what had been a previous post office. So what post office type decor did you retain or even have a fun menu item with?
Well, I saw that question at the time. That would have been a good thing to do, but I didn't. There wasn't anything that made it said a post office. It was a bar with 4 black walls when we took it over, so everything was gone from the post office at that point. But I wish it'd still been there. That would have been some fun decor.
So what is the funkiest, clever item on your original menu?
Chili taco. We had flour tortillas with chili, cheese, and onions. And lettuce, and that was a popular item.
As you launched your Chili's journey, what shocked you and made you uncomfortable along the way? There's some things that had to surprise you that they did work and some things that didn't work.
Well, we went pretty slow on as far as testing menu items. We really didn't have anything that didn't work because we would go slow and make sure that it fit the brand. So we didn't have anything that was uncomfortable on the menu. I guess one of the biggest challenges was picking good sites, which we were fortunate to pick good sites. And Chili's today that continues that and does a great job picking sites. In that, I'd like to say the most expensive lease is a lease where there's no people. So we always try to get up on the street where people would see you every day.
Did you have a real estate specialist or did you do this a lot by gut feel?
Well, when I was there, my right-hand man and I picked all the sites. And then when Norman joined us, we were big enough to have a real estate expert.
Now, you had this product called Schlock. Was that an accident or that somebody was just playing with in the kitchen? Tell us about Schlock.
Now, that's something I came up with. We wanted to put nachos on the menu, and we didn't have broilers. So we needed some way to take care of the cheese because we didn't have a way to melt it. So I made a combination of chili, milk, and cheese that went on the nachos. It was not a pretty product, but the public never saw it because on the nacho it had beans and the queso and then guacamole on top, so they never saw it. When I retired, they later put it on the menu and call it skillet queso, which it was on there for 40-something years. They tried to take it off recently, and the public revolted, and they now put it back on there.
I believe that you said they took it off for about 20 minutes before the customers demanded they put it back on.
Yeah, as I understand it, they weren't selling much, but people remember from nostalgia, and they didn't want something taken away out of their past.
Now, you've got a bunch of new restaurant concepts that you're considering. What elements in a restaurant excite you?
Well, you certainly want to have good food and you want to have great hospitality. And every business and certainly every restaurant says they have great service and hospitality, and very few do. So, quality food and a great friendly service and great hospitality is very important to me.
As you think back to some of your greatest hits, the memorable moments with Chili's, give me a couple of stories.
Oh, we uh, we followed Fridays to Houston for our second store, which was we were lucky it worked. And then we followed Fridays to San Jose and Denver. And I like to say they stayed away in droves in that we should not have expanded out of Texas that fast. Fortunately, after about a year, they turned around and instead of losing $10,000 a month, they start sending money. So hindsight says now we just shouldn't have gone out of state so fast.
I like the story that you say you went from $100 a day to then the brand is then now what, $6 billion?
Yes. Yeah, the first day sales were $100 and it slowly picked up. We had a writer for the Dallas Times Herald, a second paper in Dallas, that liked Chili's, and he would visit us and write back the next day that he went to Chili's and the food brought him to his knees and sales would go up. And that happened two or three or four times, and he helped really put us on the map.
It's important to have people to know where their lane is. So how did you had a partner there at the start? Which of y'all was the concept guy and which of the guys was the operations guy?
Well, I think it was a 50-50. He was a childhood friend, and one of us could start a sentence and the other one finished it. So we both understood the operations of the restaurant.
One of the things that you had at Chili's that worked and that you see now at McDonald's and others is Coca-Cola. I think that you told me a while back that there's something special about a Coca-Cola at McDonald's. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I visited the ex-president of McDonald's on another business, and he said we were in a conversation about beverage and Coke, and he said Coke makes a special beverage for them that retains its sparkling flavor and it's a little darker. So as the Coke melts, it doesn't look faint, and it's a special product that's made just for McDonald's. They put something in it to make it darker, and that made it feel like it had more effervescence. It didn't, but it felt that way in your mouth. And I agree with what he said. If you have a Coke from McDonald's, it tastes bright and fresh, and they do a great job with it.
If you were the subject of a book or a movie, what attributes did you have that would make you the hero?
Oh, I think I was always stood for quality, and I was very fortunate that assembled a great team, and that was probably the one of the best things I did. Is the concept was right, but just as important, I was fortunate to really have a great team with me.
I was kind of hoping that you'd say something about your resemblance to Brad Pitt or something like that as well.
No, it was, and of all the people that I knew that were in the PR business, that probably really helped put me on the map.
What was your biggest failure along the way?
With Chili's, uh, we didn't have a lot of the failures were going to San Jose and Denver too early, and uh, they didn't work. They didn't understand. We thought that they thought we were a Mexican restaurant. They didn't understand the sites, and we were fortunate that we had enough stores in Texas and other parts of the country doing well that could support us until they turned around. And after about a year, by good fortune, they both turned around and turned out to be great stores.
Well, even though TGI Fridays was first and then Ruby Tuesday, it seems that everybody wanted to emulate Chili's. So tell us what your cultural secret sauce was.
I think like I've said, I think you have to have a great concept. You have to have a great team. And then to attract and hold the best and the brightest, you really need a great company culture that, number one, shows them how much you appreciate them and that you listen to them and communicate with them. I always had an open door policy. Anybody could talk to me about anything. We had to make sure that we offered a path for them to grow personally and business wise. So you, I guess saw something the other day that said that you really have to listen to your employees. And that's one of the things Chili's is doing today, that the president really listens to the employees. And it's what we started and what they're doing a great job with today.
Well, and you and I have had the opportunity to have lunch together on multiple occasions, always at a Chili's, and you were really impressed with the operations and the menu and everything of Chili's right now. Tell us about that.
Well, I think Chili's applies to a wide swath of the dining public. They understand what the majority of the people want. They're very consistent. They've improved the quality of their food. It's fun to go to a Chili's. It's not stuffy, and they really work hard at trying to make it fun for the employees, so it's fun for the customer. But it's a great value, and then you put on top of that really world class marketing. The marketing people are doing a fantastic job with Chili's today.
And you've commented before that they've got the three items for 10.99, and that really is a better value proposition with the automatic drink refills than going to McDonald's and getting a quarter pound combo.
Yeah, what's interesting is that has been on the menu for years and they didn't focus on it. And the team that's there now looked at that and said, this is a great value and have promoted it. And it's really helped. Their sales are up 30 to 35% over a few years ago.
Tell us what made your burgers different from everybody else's.
Our vendor that we bought the meat from cut steaks for steak and ale. So our hamburgers had steak in them, and that really helped bring out the flavor in that you got a steak flavor in every hamburger.
And that can't be done right now or not as easily. Is that correct?
Well, the laws have changed in that if a company that like that cut our meat for us before, once the meat was touched, they can't sell the pieces like they used to be able to. They have to be sold to somebody like Pizza Hut that cooks them at 800 degrees. So you can do it, but you'd have to buy box meat and cut the steak up yourself, which would be pretty prohibitive.
If you open Chili's today, what would it look like concept wise?
Well, it'd be fun, casual, certainly high quality food. The public is learned and demanded to have higher quality food. It'd be full flavor and bold flavors and great hospitality. I think that really makes a difference. If people say, why would you get back and do the restaurant business again? And if you did, why would you have servers? But because I think having great servers is the way you separate yourself from the competition in that everybody says they have great service and hospitality, but you have to really do work at it every day to do that. And I think that's super important.
What have you done to motivate and to retain those great servers so that they don't go somewhere else at a steakhouse or somewhere like that, but that they would stay with you?
Well, you want to, again, you got to show them you appreciate them. You got to listen to them and spend time with them. And that might mean we certainly had conferences every year that we would take managers to, and we'd have functions, events that all the whole staff from the restaurant would work at. You have to work and have to work. I've made sure that I set time aside each week to work on building a great culture with the company. It's really important. Every company in the world says they have a great culture. Very few do.
I know that you've been very impressed with the advertising campaign from Chili's from the marketing angle. Tell us about the baby back ribs commercial with Lizzo.
Well, the rib commercial, which they did that after I left, and it's probably got to be one of the top 10 jingle commercials of the world. It's great. It was a movie. So they had stopped promoting it for years and because they needed to work on the quality of the ribs. But the new team has improved the ribs and they've got a commercial, as you talked about, with Lizzo that talks about the Chili's ribs, and it's a great commercial, and they'll have to win an award for it because it's really good, and they'll sell a lot of ribs.
And I think that you said that they have some other folks stacked to come behind Lizzo. Is that correct? They've got some
Yeah,
other celebrities.
I've heard that they're going to do a campaign in the future where they'll have other entertainers doing the Chili's jingle, which I think is great.
What's next for Larry Lavine?
I continue to do consulting and talking to entrepreneur classes about the restaurant business, which I like, and then probably find some other restaurants to buy and expand.
And then give us one more story of just a unique moment at Chili's that you just thought it just stopped you in your tracks.
Well, there was somebody that was going to be a rob Chili's, and so it was very unique. And we had a line at Chili's around the building, and the burglar waited in line till he got a table, and then informed the manager that he was going to rob the restaurant. And he got away with, I think, $25 from the waitress before he ran out the door.
Well, I think that your customers would probably have assaulted him on his way out if they saw him stealing the hard-earned money that your restaurant had done, especially had served so well for
That's
your.
right.
Is there one more thing that you'd like to share it's a true principle, whether it's restaurant or whether it's business at large, about taking care of your customers and your employees?
Well, I think first you have to have a valid concept, whether it's a restaurant or you're selling widgets. If the concept's valid, then the next most important thing, you've got to have the right team. And you have to have people that are quality and honorable and stand for quality and really want to give great customer service. And after you do that, you need to have a plan of what you want to do and a way you're going to attain that plan. And then you need the funding to do it. And part of the way of getting as I talked about, getting a great team is you really need to work every day to have a great culture where you can attract and hold the best and brightest out there. Uh,
Well,
people
yeah.
people need to uh, uh, have a dream. We had a dream of a local hamburger place, and it can still happen. In that, like you said, our dream went from $100 a day to lay the foundation for a $6 billion business. But it can still happen. You got to have concept and team and be determined to carry out your plan.
I think that you pretty well said it all. And and we should probably also mention that you have been doing a good amount of public speaking. You're even working on a book. So if somebody wants to have you come speak for their organization, or if they're wanting to do training for their business, whether it's restaurant or whether it is widgets, whatever it might be, Larry Lavine is the guy who can certainly motivate with some incredible stories and be able to help you figure out your culture. So thank you for watching this edition of 15 on Fridays with Fletch, featuring the guru of the neighborhood grill, Larry Lavine, the founder of Chili's. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, John. Good to talk to you.
I'll see you at Chili's again soon.
Yes, I hope so.
Man, that was great.
Good.